In this video, candidates, you are going to be looking at the scope in terms of what you need to prepare for your paper one that you'll be writing on the 27th of October 2025. We'll use the last year's past paper as a reference in order to guide you in terms of what to prepare yourself on and how to keep calm during the paper. So the first thing that we'll start with, we'll look at the instruction as well as the guide in terms of how your paper layout is going to look like. This paper will, or the paper that you're writing, it is 150 marks and you're expected to spend 2 hours of your time to complete the paper. We're going to start with instruction and information. You read the following instruction carefully and follow them precisely. So it is very important that you read the instruction. Do not make assumption that these instructions are similar to any of the paper that you've seen before. Read them and read all of them. Number one, answer all questions. It is very important to understand that accounting paper is unlike your economics paper as well as business studies. You have to answer all questions. All questions that will be provided to you in the paper, you need to answer them. Do not make a selection or choose which one you want to answer and which one you don't want to answer. So answer everything. And then number two, a special answer book is provided in which to answer all questions. It is very important, candidate, to understand that you should not use your own answer book. However, use the answer book that you will be provided to respond to the question that the examiner is asking you on. So it is very important, in case you do not have the answer book, you ask your invigilator to provide you the answer book, as only the response that are in the answer book will be marked. Number three, a financial indicator formula sheet is attached at the end of this question paper. The nice thing about accounting paper now is that you are provided the formula sheet. So the formula sheet will be useful for you when you are calculating the financial indicators. Please make sure that you make use of the formula sheet, as it is important for you as a guide to assist you in terms of how to calculate the financial indicator that will be asked from you. Number four, show all workings to earn part marks. Make sure, candidates, that you are showing your workings in the answer book. Do not show your working in the question paper. However, show them in the answer book. In some cases, your full answer might not be correct. However, if you have already shown your working, and that way you'll be able to earn yourself marks. Therefore, show all your working in terms of how you've arrived at your answer. Even though you know the answer, you can calculate it in the calculator and come up with the answer, and you're confident about this answer. Do not only show the answer, show the entire working that make you arrive to the answer. I'll make an example. If you are asked to calculate a depreciation for the vehicle or for the equipment, and you are told that there were no purchases and there were no sale on the equipment or the vehicle. So what you need to do to calculate the depreciation, you know that your depreciation, it will be your opening accumulated depreciation less your closing accumulated depreciation, and then the depreciation will be the difference between the two. So one would decide to make calculation on the calculator and put only the answer in the answer book. That is incorrect. You need to show your opening accumulated depreciation, your closing accumulated depreciation, and the answer. And in that way, you'll be able to earn yourself 2 marks. Part mark if it's wrong, and then you get yourself a full mark if you happen to have the correct full answer. And therefore, I emphasize again, as you go kick off on your paper, you ensure that you are following the instruction and information as required. Then number five, you may use a non-programmable calculator. During the year, your teachers would have guided you to tell you that's the calculator that you need to use. It's of this nature. So there are calculators that are programmable, meaning to say they can store information and they can assist the candidate to copy on the exam by calling all those answers they have saved. So now what you need to understand is that you should not use a programmable calculator, because if you do use it, you might not be allowed to continue with your exam. So use a non-programmable calculator or the calculator that you have been using throughout the year and that your teacher is well aware of. Number 6 says you may use dark pencil or blue or black ink to answer the question. Again, candidates, this is very important for you to ensure that you are using the pen that you have been using throughout the year. Your teachers during the year would have emphasized to you that you use black or blue ink. So for that reason, on the paper as well, please ensure that you do not use the pen that you didn't use during the year, because if you're using the pen that you didn't use during the year, you are running a risk that the pen that you are using, it is not the correct pen to use. And in that case, you're running a risk of your paper, unfortunately, potential not being marked. And then number 7 says where applicable, show all calculation to one decimal places. So in accounting, since you are doing calculations, you're doing mainly the calculation throughout your counting. So what might happen then is that your answer might have more than one decimal places. In that case, round off to the nearest one decimal places. It is important that you take note of this. Yes, other candidates might use two decimal places, but then it is incorrect to do so if you see on the instruction and information that you have been told that you need to show all calculation to one decimal places. Number 8 says write neatly and legible. So what is important about that? It is to ensure that your marker is able to see what you have wrote. Not everyone has a very good handwriting, but you need to make sure that whatever that you wrote, even if you do not have a good handwriting like I am, I don't have a good handwriting, but I tried by all means throughout my studies to ensure that at least the marker is able to see what I have marked. So why it is dangerous to not write neatly and legible? The risk of not writing neatly and legible, it is on the basis that if you choose not to write neatly and legible, you're running a risk that the examiner might not be able to see what you wrote. If the examiner cannot see what you wrote, the issue is that they will not be able to mark your paper. And if they aren't able to mark your paper, therefore, you aren't going to be able to pass this paper. And then number 9, use information in the table below as a guide in answering the question paper. Try not to deviate from it. So if you're looking on the question, on the questions below, you'll have 4 questions. And the 4 questions that you have company financial statements, so you have cash flow statement and financial indicator, the interpretation of financial information, and the corporate governance. So as you're looking at this table that we see here, you understand which one you're stronger at, and then you can start with those one, and those that you believe that you're weaker on, then you can keep them behind. If I were you writing this paper, how would I then write the sequence of my paper? Which question will I start with and which one will I end with? In my situation, I will start with company financial statements, then I'll move to corporate governance, then move to cash flow statement and financial indicator, and then end with the interpretation of the financial statements. So that's how I will structure my answering of question. However, on your case, you know which one you're stronger at, and it is advisable then you focus on what you believe that you are strong at. Now, this takes us to the end of what you should expect on the paper that you're writing on the 27th October 2025. I wish you all the best, candidates, as you prepare yourself for this exam, and good luck.